Hi, friends. The title of this talk is Phineas P Quimby and the Powers of the Mind. If any one person may be said to have been the founder of the New Thought movement, it was Phineas P Quimby, a Maine clockmaker, inventor, mesmerist, and metaphysical healer. He is generally recognized as the father of New Thought. Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, Park to his friends and neighbours, was born in Lebanon, New Hampshire on February 16, 1802. The son of a blacksmith, Quimby had little formal education. He later developed tuberculosis and became disillusioned with the method of treatment prescribed by his physician, even for a time giving up all hope of recovery. A friend suggested he take up a physical outdoor activity, such as horseback riding, to improve his condition. His severe physical ailments prevented him from trying this suggestion, but he tried the next best thing and embarked on carriage trips. This produced remarkable results. His recovery prompted much thought on the subject of healing. Quimby attended a performance by a travelling French physician and mesmerist, Dr Robert Collier, in Belfast, Maine, in 1838. He then decided that he too had a talent for inducing trances. He began travelling with his partner and prop, Lucius Berkmar, who would obediently fall into a stupor during performances. Under Quimby's control, Lucius Berkmar was supposedly able to traverse time and space, read minds, diagnose illnesses among members of the audience, and prescribe herbal cures. Quimby saw the mental and placebo effect of the mind over the body when medicines prescribed by Berkmar, with no physical value, cured patients of their diseases. Quimby became a mesmerist and had incredible results using the power of the mind. Quimby has been doing miracles. He has cured a man who couldn't walk nor speak, wrote Lucius Berkmar in his daily journal. Quimby discovered that the individual has the power of creation, that each person is the cause of their experience, and that our reward or punishment is in ourselves. Quimby wrote, "One of my first objects was to ascertain what mind is. For if the mind dies with the body, then all the fuss and trouble of living and using our minds to be of importance hereafter would be of no value. So I made it my first object of inquiry. When I first commenced operating on the mind, I put persons into a mesmeric trance, sleep. At last I found I could make my subjects read my thoughts, and here was a new discovery." Quimby soon became known as a metaphysical healer. His experiences and practices of mental healing were the real beginnings of and foundation for New Thought. He first experimented with various physical remedies. The result was just the same, regardless of the particular remedy. He came to understand that the healing lay not in the medicine, but in the mind. Having drawn certain conclusions about the nature of illness from his experience with hypnotism, Quimby gradually moved into the field of curing the sick through reasoning with them about the causes of their diseases. His system of alternative healing was a metaphysical form of insight-oriented psychotherapy, together with autosuggestion. His methods were the beginning of what became known as the new psychology and mental therapeutics. Even more importantly, Quimby paved the way for the whole field of modern psychosomatic medicine. New Thought understood the nature of functional illness long before depth psychology. Quimby can be said to have discovered the subconscious or unconscious mind. He understood that there were two separate functions of the mind, conscious and subconscious. This was a remarkable discovery at that time. Thoughts were the conscious function of mind, while beliefs and opinions were the subconscious function of mind. Quimby wrote that man has an unconscious power that is not admitted, that is not known or realized, which governs his acts. Dr. Joseph Murphy, in his book, How to Use Your Healing Power, wrote, Quimby, the great American healer, knew that when he thought of his patient, he was in command of the other person's mind and body. Then he contemplated his divine perfection. He duplicated many of the miracles recorded in the Bible. Quimby's inner conviction that what was true of God was true of his patient was the word that he sent. He sent his word and healed them. That's Psalm 107, verse 20. Now, Quimby wrote, Jesus embodied an intelligence called Christ, embracing all the attributes of man and being a revelation of a higher wisdom than had before appeared on the earth. Quimby was not religious by orthodox standards. Indeed, he was suspicious of both orthodox medicine and the established churches. Even though he often referred to Christianity in his teachings, Quimby taught that erroneous and unhealthy religious beliefs were often at the root of many physical illnesses. At the heart of Quimby's methods of healing was his belief that the explanation is the cure. For Quimby, disease was an error, the only remedy for which was the truth, which is health. In a circular to the sick, Quimby wrote, My practice is unlike all medical practice. I give no medicine and make no outward applications. I tell the patient his troubles and what he thinks is his disease, and my explanation is the cure. If I succeed in correcting his errors, I change the fluids of the system and establish the truth or health. The truth is the cure. This mode of practice applies to all cases. Quimby demonstrated that the human body moves as it is moved upon by the mind. That is, the body acts as it is acted upon and becomes in effect a mirror of one's mind. This was a most important discovery. Quimby wrote, I tell you a lie and you believe it. Immediately your inventive power or imagination commences to create that which I have said. I explain the operation of a machine to you, and your inventive power immediately creates it according as you understand it. This is the power of imagination. I never use the word as others do. When people think they have a disease which I know they have not, I do not ascribe it to their imagination, but to the fact that they have been deceived. Quimby developed and used an argumentative method of healing. in which he would convince the patient and himself that the sickness was due to false beliefs, groundless fears, and negative patterns in the subconscious mind. He would explain that the basis of all healing was a change of belief and would build up evidence for the healing power within, finally rendering a verdict in the courthouse of the mind in favor of both the patient and himself. This is the method of healing of general application. In the later stage of his healing career, Quimby tended to use what was called the absolute method of healing. He would mention the name of the patient, silently contemplate the qualities and attributes of God as infinite intelligence, boundless love, and the source and restorer of perfect health. He would feel and envision the power and love of God being focused on the patient. This method of healing is very much akin to spiritual mind treatment in religious science. In Quimby's psychoanalytic methods of healing, he didn't ask the patient questions, nor did he encourage the patient to babble on about their complaints. Instead, Quimby would tell the patient how they felt and why, reading the mental and psychic state of the patient and using his imagination constructively. He taught others how to do the same. Quimby sought to correct and displace self-deception and misbeliefs about illness, religion, and God. He wrote, "It is to the sick and not to the well that this is written, to open their eyes so that they can see how they have been deceived." Now, here are some other gems of thought from Phineas P Quimby, many, if not all of which, are helpful for you and me. Here they are. Man acts as he is acted upon. Man is belief expressed. To believe is to act. What we believe, that we create. To believe a thing is to make it. We create the enemy which disturbs us. Disease is the misery of our belief. Happiness is the health of our wisdom. A disease and an opinion are one and the same. Every thought contains a substance, either good or bad. God never made any intelligent pain or ache. God or wisdom has never made anything to torment mankind. To know that you exist is nothing, but to know what disturbs you is of great value to everyone. Man believes in heaven and hell as independent of himself. So he lives in hell all his life, trying to get to heaven. What Quimby discovered or rediscovered is so important for us today, namely that our ideas, beliefs, and opinions activate our mind and condition us. The mind is simply a medium for ideas and impressions, being both a receiver and a transmitter of impressions. We become an expression of our beliefs. We must never forget that in our own lives. He wrote, "I discovered that ideas took form and the patient was affected just according to the impression contained in the idea." Quimby understood the nature and origins of obsessional thinking and addiction. Impressions lead to assumptions and presumptions. Assumptions and presumptions lead to beliefs and misbeliefs. The latter harden into obsessions and other rigid, fixed states of mind. All such thinking is a process of fixation, attaching one's senses to an idea, to use Quimby's words. As any new thoughter knows, there is one mind, and that mind is God. All minds subsist in the one mind. Now, Quimby developed the concept of mingling minds. Mingling minds. He wrote, "Our minds mingle like atmospheres, and each person has his identity in that atmosphere. Our atmospheres mingle, mind on mind." As Quimby saw it, we are all immersed in a great pool of mind. The moods, feelings, and beliefs of others are impressed upon us. Our mind is a great reservoir containing the mental experiences and reactions of the ages. But we can rise above the race mind, and let's call it mass hypnosis. Quimby once called on a woman who was aged, lame, and bound down on crutches. The cause of the ailment was this: the woman was imprisoned by a religious creed so small and narrow and contracted that she couldn't stand upright or move ahead. She was living in a tomb of fear and ignorance, having taken the Bible literally, with the result that she constantly lived in fear of eternal damnation. In this tomb she had made for herself, with the help of some religion, the presence of God was trying to burst the bars, break through the bands that bound her, and literally rise from the dead. Such is the nature of the power within each one of us. As respects this woman, Quimby diagnosed her case as a mind cloudy and stagnated due to excitation and fear, caused by her inability to see clearly the true meaning of the scriptural passages she had been reading and believing. This condition showed itself in her body by a heavy and sluggish feeling, which ultimately would terminate in paralysis. Quimby asked the woman what was meant by this Bible verse, John 7, verse 33, "Yet a little while I am with you, and then I go unto him that sent me. Yet a little while I am with you, and then I go unto him that sent me." John 7, verse 33. The woman replied, "Oh, it means that Jesus went to heaven." Quimby made plain what the passage really meant by interpreting that being with her a little while meant his explanation of her symptoms, feelings, and their cause. That is, he had compassion and sympathy for her, but he could not remain with her in that mental state. The next step was to go to him that sent me. That is, the presence of God in all persons. Quimby then travelled, so to speak, in his mind and contemplated perfect health, which of course is God. He said to the woman, "Therefore, where I go, you cannot come, for you are in Calvin's belief," Calvinism, "and I am in health." This explanation produced an instantaneous sensation in the woman. A change came over her mind. The old woman walked without her crutches. She had been, as it were, dead in error. To bring her to life or truth, same thing, was to raise her from the dead. Quimby wrote, "I quoted the resurrection of Christ and applied it to her own Christ or health. It produced a powerful effect on her." Now, referring to this incident in his book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, Dr. Joseph Murphy wrote, Quimby quoted the resurrection of Christ and applied it to her own Christ or health. This produced a powerful effect on her. He also explained to her that the truth which she accepted was the angel or idea which rolled away the stone of fear, ignorance, and superstition, thereby releasing the healing power of God, which made her whole. An hour before he breathed his last, on January 16, 1886, Phineas P Quimby said to his son, I am more than ever convinced of the truth of my theory. I am perfectly willing for the change myself, but I know you all will feel badly and think I am dead. But I know that I shall be right here with you, just as I always have been. I do not dread the change any more than if I were going on a trip to Philadelphia. I hope you can put to good use some of Quimby's methods and principles of healing in your own life and in the lives of others. God bless you all.